8, 9 years ago, President Bush went to St. Petersburg. He traveled on an official visit to Russia. And I'll tell you a story within a story. So he gets to Moscow, and he's in the embassy. And in the embassy, there's a reception, and the chief rabbi of Russia, Beryl Lazar, is there at the reception. And he goes by him together, one of the other rabbis, Rabbi Berkowitz. And the president turns to his aide and he says, "Tell Ari his buddies are here." Who is Ari? Ari, what's the name? The spokesman of the White House in those days is Ari Fleischer. Ari Fleischer was the spokesman in the White House. And when he was a little bit younger, he had been the president of the Congressional Jewish Forum, which was a Chabad organization in Congress. So he knew that Ari was connected to Chabad. So the president saw the two Chabad rabbis. He says, he tells his aide, "Tell Ari his buddies are here." Fleischer comes running in like a meshuggah. The president wants him. He's told the president wants to know that the Chabad rabbis are here to see him. But so what happened to that visit is he went to St. Petersburg. And in St. Petersburg, he visited the great Chorale synagogue in St. Petersburg, which was built by Rabbi Pesner. And in that synagogue, Rabbi Pesner takes him into a room and shows him a whole bunch of Torah scrolls. What is the story with these Torah scrolls? When these rabbis came in the mid-60s, they discovered these Torah scrolls. And they had an idea, you know what? Nobody's using them in Russia. Let's take them out of Russia. We'll spread them around the world, and there'll be Torah scrolls for synagogues, Sefer Torahs for shuls. And they told the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said, no. There'll be a time that there'll be a renaissance of Judaism in Russia, and these Torah scrolls will be used in Russia. And when they told the story to President Bush, he said, that's a prophecy. And he was so taken with the rabbi and rebbitzin in what's his name in St. Petersburg, he invited them to the White House as his private personal guests. Barbara Bush, Mrs. Bush was so taken by the Rebbe and Pesner that she invited her to the White House as a personal guest. The difference between Poland and Russia is a vibrant, dynamic Jewish community. I was in Moscow on Simchas Torah night. There were 1,000 people there. There were 13 oligarchs in the room. Their net worth was $30-some-odd billion. Now, what shul in America has people worth $30 billion in the shul for dancing? At 3:30, so we were dancing till 11 o'clock, and then we had a break, and then we had the dancing again. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we went on the street, and at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm walking home with Rabbi Lazar. You'd think he'd be impressed that he had these oligarchs worth $30 billion. He said to me, I had success tonight. I said, what was your success? He says, 3 guys decided to get a bris, and 4 guys decided to put on tefillin. But we're talking here a different kind of world. You know, they have a row of Mercedes in front of the shul, each guy with a driver and bodyguards, and these guys are dancing inside like everybody else. They run the economy of Russia. The difference is we're the Jewish establishment in Russia. There's no Jewish Federation. We are the Jewish Federation. There's no ADL. We are the ADL. There's no AJC. We are the AJC. Judaism in Russia is run 98% by Chabad. It's a different ballgame. It is the most amazing Jewish community that I've ever been to in my life. It is so well organized. There's schools in this town with 1,000 students, with 50,000 Jews. It's an amazing place. I mean, now there's challenges, and everything in the city is run by Jews. The shopping centers are owned by Jews. Both airlines are owned by a Jew. The banks are owned by Jews. The gas stations are owned by Jews. The whole downtown, everything is owned by these oligarchs. In fact, the governor now, on behalf of Ukraine, is one of these oligarchs. One of the other elements for the success of Judaism in Russia, even though he's not so popular right now in the United States, has been the friendship to the Jewish world of the president of Russia, which is Vladimir Putin. And you have to ask yourselves, why is this so? I heard a great line from a professor of mathematics, Novosibirsk. He told me like this: Putin may not be good for Russia, but he's definitely good for the Jews of Russia. Putin may not be good for Russia, but he's definitely good for the Jews of Russia. Why is he good for the Jews of Russia? Because when Putin was a young child, he lived in an apartment building in St. Petersburg. And he would come home every day from school, and his parents were out working. And in the same entrance, in the same apartment or the adjacent apartment, there lived a religious Hasidic family. And when he would come home and there was nobody to take care of him, they would do his homework together with him. And he spent his youth growing up basically in the house of an Orthodox Jew. So he feels a tremendous sense of hakaras hatov, of recognition for good to the Jews. And what he got, all his childhood friends were Jews. And I also think he sees the positive effect that they have in building Russia as a new country, the fact what the rabbis do in Russia and the shluchim are doing in Russia.
I stopped for a moment because I want to add one more thing, allegedly, which I think maybe not so much allegedly. Putin's mother was Jewish. Shalomova was her name. Let's continue.
Russia is a different mentality. And this is part of the conflict right now between Russia and the United States. You can't push the Russians have to be dealt with through quiet. A very shrewd observer in Moscow told me, you can't deal with Russia like the United States. Here it's public pressure, it's tumult, it's polls. In Russia, everything is quiet deals. For instance, there's a lot of quiet deals between Russia and Israel that you know nothing about. And the early meetings between Putin and Sharon and Putin and Bibi were orchestrated by Chabad. They were arranged, but a lot of the deals, everything. Russia is a different political mentality. There's a lot of quiet deals between Russia and Israel that you know nothing about. There's a lot of quiet deals between Russia and Israel that you know nothing about.
Решение о национализации этой библиотеки было принято советским правительством, первым советским правительством, и членами его являлись примерно 80-85% евреев. Но они же, руководствуясь ложными идеологическими соображениями, шли тогда на аресты и репрессии и иудеев, и православных, и представителей других конфессий, мусульман. Они всех гребли под одну гребенку. И вот эти идеологические шоры и ложные идеологические установки, они...
Важно, что ваш фонд многое делает для активизации контактов между народами России и Израиля, помогает расширять сотрудничество между нашими странами в политике, экономике, культурно-гуманитарной, и в других областях. И такую деятельность, разумеется, можно только приветствовать. Подчеркну, мы в России уделяем большое внимание развитию многоплановых взаимовыгодных отношений с государством Израиль. Стремимся выстраивать их в партнерском, конструктивном духе. Я без всякого преувеличения могу сказать с гордостью, что, наверное, такого уровня отношений между Россией и Израилем никогда не было. Если не вспоминать, конечно, самые первые месяцы, может, пару лет образования государства Израиля.
Мне напоминает то, на чем строится неприятие, не знаю, какому-то этносу, скажем, антисемитизм. Значит, если кто-то чего-то не умеет делать, кто-то в чем-то проявляет неспособность решить проблемы, виноваты всегда евреи, антисемитов, за их собственные промашки. Легче сказать, что мы не виноваты, это виноваты русские, они вмешались в наши выборы, а мы хорошие. Это вообще мне антисемитизм напоминает. Во всем евреи виноваты, понимаете? Сам придурок так ничего сделать не может, евреи виноваты.
All right, so I don't think I have to add too much more. However, I will. Those of you who are not familiar with what locations this Chabad Lubavitch operates in or at, I will take you to the official website, which is really easy. You just Google it. Let me show you. This is the official website, chabad.org. And when you scroll all the way down, right here, when you see this blue part, right here, the last position is Chabad locator. So as you can see here, the map of the world, most places have a lot of those locations, and that includes the centers, I believe the synagogues as well, I think, as well as the schools, even on Iceland, you see? So they are in most of the places. Very, very congested here in United States and of course Europe. And now you can just put the name of the country right here. Like I said, I'm focusing just on Russia today. It shows you many locations, but we can also zoom it. So let's just zoom it in. I don't know how to close this now. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's just focus on this. We're gonna go. Actually, you can just, when you go all the way here, you can see all the locations in Russia and the cities. But I want to show you on the map, so it's much more visual for you. Okay, as you can see here is Russia. Moscow has a lot of locations. I recorded videos, you see right here is Moscow, you see a lot, but many other places as well. So you can check it out. One more thing I want to bring to your attention, the latest video that was done by Professor, let me find it first because I don't want to jinx his name, which probably I will.